Earlier this year, the government of Rajasthan put out a recruitment notice about 53,000 posts for jobs such as gardener, watchman, peon. Basically, a job which needs a 10th class pass. Guess how many applied? 25 lakh people. Yes, 25 lakh people for 53,000 posts, and the portal crashed. But that's not the shocking news. The shocking part is more than half of them were graduates, postgraduates, people with an MBA applying for a job which needs carrying files or maybe watering the plants. These people probably did everything that the system asked them to do. Get a degree, get another degree, get placed. But that's what led them here, queuing up for a job which doesn't need more than a 10th class pass. And that is a market signal. Market is telling you very clearly what it thinks a degree is worth today. And the answer is less than a 10th class pass. And I know you must be thinking it's maybe a bad college, bad degree, maybe they're bad luck. Maybe it is. But market giving that signal isn't about a bad college or a bad degree. It is what starts happening when the market stops paying for a piece of paper. And right now, you are probably ready to put 20, 30, maybe 40 lakhs in the same market for the most expensive paper that is out there. It's possible that you've had this question in your mind for a while now, while you were working, while you were studying, on your way home. And sometimes this isn't even your question, it's your parents. Every time they come across or think of that cousin, that neighbor who's cleared an IIM, they go saying, Beta, tujhe bhi kar lena chahiye. And that is when you actually start thinking, should I do an MBA? Should I do it now? Should I skip it completely? What will I regret more? Not doing it at all? Or the loan that I'm going to take to do that MBA? In fact, I myself wanted to do it. I even went to those cat coaching classes, dreaming about the campus, the life reset, the salary, the role. It's a different thing that I never went to do it. I didn't even write the exam. But that's not important here. What's important is, today, I run a consulting firm. I do the hiring. And I'm not trying to sell you a course or a degree here. This is just about how the MBA looks like from this side of the table, from the recruiter side. So by the end of this video, you will know 3 things that you don't know right now. First one, what does an MBA cost? Not the fee, the cost, including the 2 years of you not working and the financial impact that it's going to cause on your long-term career. You will know 4 things that an MBA is trying to sell you, and the 5th thing that no MBA can teach you, no matter how much you're ready to pay. And you will have 5 questions to answer yourself, free of cost, maybe today, next week, next month, which will tell you whether this is the right move for your life, not your parents. For a lot of us, the MBA was never really a decision. It was a line in the script. The same script which put those graduates and postgraduates lining up for the job of a peon, maybe a few steps higher. MBA was how one was supposed to move up the corporate ladder. You were done doing the work and you were ready to run it. At least that was the promise, isn't it? A different title, newer salary, a seat at that special table, and maybe a ticket to go abroad, get paid in dollars, get a visa. A whole different life. And for a long time, like I've been saying, it worked. Your uncle did it, your cousins did it, your senior did it. They cracked CAT, they got into a good college, and they got that huge salary which changed everything. So that advice coming from them isn't irrational, because that formula perfectly worked for them. And the thing that relatives care about the most is that you've arrived, you've settled. I've seen a lot of people do those post-graduations just to add those 2 or 3 letters in front of their name. I've also seen wedding invitations where the groom has got MBA or some other PG written in front of their name. No, I'm not joking. I've actually seen it happen, because that's how some of us value that post-graduation, value that MBA. And lately, even people at the top have started being honest about what they think the value of that paper is. Nikhil Kamath, co-founder of Zerodha, one of the youngest self-made billionaires of the country, built every bit of it without a college degree. And he put out something as blunt as possible. Quote unquote, he said,
if you're 25 and going to MBA college today, you must be some kind of idiot.
Obviously, that got the internet talking and people split on 2 sides. Now, I don't fully agree with him. Yeah, if you're doing an MBA just to get a job, maybe I agree with him. But if you are doing it for the exposure, for the network, for access to those special rooms, I'm all up for it. But either ways, the question still remains the same. At what cost? And those angry reactions and the crack that internet had isn't just limited to online. That crack has reached places which was immune to everything. The IIMs. At IIM Trichy, a real IIM, one that you would break yourself preparing for, 1 out of every 6 did not get placed last year. The very top IIMs still pay maybe 35, 36 lakhs per annum. But when you go one level down, the number drops to 13, maybe 15. And IIM both gave one such new IIM. The 2-year fees is higher than what a graduate would earn when they pass out of the college. And some of these newer IIMs have started doing something very quietly and smartly. They are starting to ask students to opt out of placements when you don't get placed. Why? So that their placement report looks 100% placed. And at one of them, 50 out of a batch of 320 students opted out. Imagine you spent 2 years, took a loan. At the end of the college, your college is asking you to opt out of the placement just because they want their brochure to look clean. And by the way, this year, the number of people appearing for CAT exam have gone down when compared to last 3 years. So look, there are 2 kinds of MBAs right now in our country. The one at the top, maybe 15, 20 schools give you the network, the life reset, open the doors to a different career. But below that, everything else is a loan, a brochure, a bet that probably won't pay off. And let's not even talk about the tier 3 MBAs. They are bad deals and there's nothing new about it. What nobody shows you is the full picture, right from the top IIM to an average US school. So we'll look at one person, 5 different decisions, 5 different outcomes and compare them. Because more often than not, people land up in the one which does not work. So let's look at that. Everybody starts with the fee, but that's the wrong number. You should look at the fee, the loan, the interest, the EMI for a decade, and the 2 years that you're not going to work, because that is the real cost. And here's how it looks for a real person. Meet Shyam. He's about 28 years old. He's been working for the last 6 years, earns about 12 lakhs per annum, and he has got to pause that career. And that is where this decision becomes heavy and real. So Shyam is weighing his options and he's looking at 5 versions of next 10 years of his life. Timeline 1. Shyam does not do the MBA. He stays, he switches maybe job once or twice in the next 10 years, grows at about 10%, he negotiates his salary, he takes that raise, and over the next decade, without anything dramatic, he takes home 1.9 crores. So that's our baseline, the path that you would have by default if you do nothing dramatic about it. And every other timeline we're going to look at has to be this number. Timeline 2. Shyam cracks a top IIM. IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, that range, with a fee and a loan. And he re-enters the market after 2 years at about 30 lakhs. And this is about 2.5 times what he was earning before he left his job. From here, his salary grows exponentially. And by the end of the 10th year, he's about at 58 lakhs. And the first option, the stayer, is around 28 lakhs. So more than double the salary. Great numbers. And in total money, even after that whole and 2 lost years, the MBA catches up by year 6, and by the end of 10th year, he's ahead by at least 1 crore. So at the very top, the MBA clearly works. You get this salary, you get the network, you get the entry to the room. And if you are coming from the salary such as Shyam's, the math is very strong. There are 2 problems though. First, most people can't crack into those IIMs. The pass possibility is 0.15%, tighter than Harvard. There are about 10 to 12,000 seats for about 3 lakh applicants. The second one is even getting worse. The real median salary of those IIMs isn't getting any better when you take into consideration the inflation. So the entry level work which used to justify the premium, the decks, the analysis, the research, is being automated. The degree that works today is working a little less each passing year. So spare a thought about the version of this decision that most people are going to end up in. Timeline 3. Shyam goes to an average B school. Same person, a different school, a newer IIM, maybe a private B school, the tier where 95% of the MBA aspirants are going to end up in. He re-enters the market at about 14-15 lakhs. And the stayer in our timeline 1 is about the same number, 14.5. So after 2 years of away from work with a loan and an EMI, the numbers still remain the same. A number which you would have gotten even if he had done nothing. And by year 10, the stayer is at about 28 lakhs. And this version of Shyam is about 27.5 lakhs. Basically the same, but 58 lakhs behind in total money. And that line is never going to cross. And when this decision goes wrong, this is how it looks. A viral post recently showed a family selling their land. Yes, they sold their land to get their son study in a private, established college which promised a bright corporate future. He finished college, he got a job, and he earns 28,000 rupees per month, living in different city, maybe even struggling to get his rent paid. And the owner of the college upgraded from Fortuner to a BMW. So the family bet everything on a brochure. And the brochure obviously didn't hold its promise. Timeline 4. Arjun goes abroad. Top US school. Now the bet gets bigger, a lot bigger, because it's about 1.5 to 2 crores entirely in loan. M7, best of the best college. And the timeline splits in two because everything here depends on one thing. If Shyam stays in the US, he gets the visa, he gets the sponsor. This is the best timeline by far, because he's going to make at least a crore and a half every year. So look at that gap. And that is what everybody is taking a 2 crore loan for. And in 2026, that door is closing. H1B visa is a bigger lottery. The newer rules for the entry-level roles gives mere 15% chance. And add to that $100,000 fees. Even minimum salary thresholds are being raised, and employers are sponsoring lesser people. Now, this is not just a bad market, it's how the policies are being directed. And here the bet isn't just on your ability or your qualification, it is on the geopolitics, which is not in your control. So 85% of the time, Shyam comes back to India with the same 2 crore loan. He gets a good job, high salary, but gets crushed under that heavy loan. By year 10, he's clearly behind the stair and servicing maybe at least a 1.5 crore loan in rupees. And for all these years, his salary is going to look great, but the loan is going to be greater. Timeline 5. Arjun goes abroad to an average US school. The bet is still quite big here, about 1.25 crores, still entirely in loan, 2 years away from work, and no prizes for guessing the visa odds are worse. So Shyam definitely comes back home with the same loan. He re-enters the market at about 20 lakhs, and by year 10 he's around 39-40 lakhs. And the stair, he's at 28. So his salary is higher, but he's still drowning. By year 10, he's still behind the stair because he's got about 1.5 crore in loan to pay. And that hole he has dug for himself in the form of that loan is too much to fill in with the salary that he's going to get. And that line never crosses. So let's put them all together now. Look at all of them at the same time. The good Indian MBA pulls ahead, clearly. The average Indian MBA barely moves off the stairs salary. That top US MBA rockets past everything or leaves you crushing under a heavy loan. And that average US MBA gets you more salary but still leaves you underwater. So clearly the timelines that win are the ones almost nobody can access. The elite Indian MBA is 1 in 1,000. That US MBA needs you to be in 15% of lottery on top of the admission. So most people end up in timeline 3 or timeline 5. And in both of them, the investment math is dead. So the numbers are clearly saying no for most people. And yet, most people are doing this than ever. Yes, the CAT numbers dipped, but when compared to a generation ago, the numbers are record high. So either lakhs of people are bad at arithmetic or they're buying something that these timelines are not measuring. And if you're still watching this, you already know math isn't the reason why you are considering it. For almost 30 years, the MBA was an investment. You invested money, you got a predictable return, higher salary, better title, entry to that room. The formula worked. And that's why it became a script. Do the engineering, do the MBA, get settled. The return was so reliable, nobody questioned the logic of doing it. But for most people at most schools, that's getting over. The numbers just showed you. At the top, the return is still there, but most people can't get in there. And everywhere else, it's gone. But people are still doing it and record numbers, which tells you that they are not paying for that return anymore. They're paying for something else. It has become a purchase, not an investment. An investment is judged by how much money you get on top of your money. But a purchase, you judge by whether you wanted it or not. When you buy a watch, you don't ask what's the ROI of that watch. You just wanted it. So the mistake almost everybody is making with MBA right now is running investment math on a purchase decision. So will I get my salary back is a wrong question. The right question is, what am I buying and is it worth the price? There are 4 things that an MBA sells you, and the first 2 are the weakest. Knowledge, finance, marketing, strategy. This is something which you can learn elsewhere at a fraction of its cost. The second one is a signal, a stamp that tells the world that you're capable. But if everybody has the same signal, same stamp, it means nothing. The MBA signal stamp that still works is only at a handful of schools that are hard to get into. Everywhere else it's fading, but you are still paying the full price. Now the other two that matter are network and a reset. A network you build with your batchmates, your alumni, your professors, people who would take your call for the next 30 years. This is the one which lasts. This doesn't inflate like that signal because it is limited and it stays limited. In fact, that's what those top schools are selling you. Exclusivity is the product, and you can't get it part-time or at the 4,000th rank school. And if you can buy it, this part of the MBA is the only one that will hold its value throughout your career. And the last one is a life reset, a track switch. If you are in engineering, you want to get into strategy. You are in IT, you want to get into finance. You can't make these switches while staying at your current job. An MBA serves as that bridge which can take you into that switch. This one works, and this is probably one of the most honest reasons that one should take the MBA. But again, two catches. It only works full-time, and more often than not, it lands you in a consulting role. Now it has got its own room full of problems, but that's not what we're discussing here. So knowledge, network, signal, and the life reset. When you are taking an MBA, you're probably buying some sort of combination of these four. And once you know which one are you buying, you should ask yourself, is there a cheaper way to get this? Before you do that, there's a fifth thing as well, and this one compounds over the career, and no MBA can give you this. The word is judgment. Knowing which problem to solve. Sitting with a customer in a room and trying to understand what their real need is behind everything that they're asking for. Owning a decision that could go wrong but still coming out with the right one. These are the kind of things that separates people who build their careers versus the one who are just filling some roles. And it can't be taught in classrooms because real judgment comes with reputations which have real consequences. And a case study doesn't have it. And AI just made the differentiation public. McKinsey is running close to 20,000 agents alongside its consultants, doing its decks, analysis, research, the exact entry-level work that MBA hires used to do on their day one. About 150 former consultants from McKinsey, Bain and BCG were quietly hired to train those models. So the people who used to build those Rs are now teaching the machine how to do them. And guess what McKinsey said? It's doubling down on its hiring. Judgment, creativity, customer-facing ability, these are things which AI cannot do. So AI didn't kill the value of MBA, it just exposed it. The polished half of the decks, the analysis, the frameworks was always the part that a machine could have learned. It was the judgment half that an MBA could not teach. And now that the polished half is being automated, that new AI plus business degree that is being sold is the same old wine in a new costume, still promising to sell you the thing that cannot be sold. Because remember, judgment isn't a module. It comes through repetitions, consequences, and years of doing that. So if MBA is a purchase, and for most people out there it is, there's only one honest question left to be answered. What are you buying? And is this the cheapest way to buy it? But first, let's look at it from the other side. Because I am the one sitting on the other side of the desk when you walk into the door. The thing I always thought an MBA would give me was customer-facing impact. When I sit with customer, I would understand their problems, solve their problem, and I was sure that this degree was going to be a shortcut to that room. While I ended up getting access to the room anyways without the MBA, it tells you something. It tells you what that degree was trying to sell me versus what I had to build myself. So now that I'm on the other side of the table, does an MBA change the impression of the candidate that I'm going to interview? The answer is yes and a no. Yes, it tells me that you have something in you to crack the tough exam, to survive that interview, because that is all real. But at the same time, it also raises my expectation of what have you done after this degree. So you're carrying a double-edged sword, not just you, anybody walking into the room with a lot of degrees and certifications. That's what happens. So the degree might and will open the door for you, but you still have to demonstrate judgment and execution during an interview. And if you can't show me or any recruiter this part, the degree is not going to save you. And I can see it right from the intro. When I ask somebody to tell me something about themselves which is not in the resume, and they still end up reciting what they've prepared, it tells me right there. Such a failure of judgment. If they can't tell me why they did what they did, if they can't tell me why their customer implemented that project, it's failure of judgment. I've noticed this for long enough and I've cared about this long enough to go ahead and create a course of my own. I call it the art of software consulting. It's for software professionals who are customer facing, and I had put 12 chapters in that just for this subject, because those are the number of people who don't get this, and MBA is clearly not teaching this. But let me also tell you why this degree still survives. Because for me, I can meet you, I'm a small company, I can understand judgment and make a decision. But for larger companies, 5,000, 50,000 people, they need a sign, they need a signal. So they outsource their judgment to this credential. And that is the real reason why MBA still has a market. So here's how to decide for your life, not somebody else's. 5 questions. And the first one you can probably answer in less than 10 seconds. You probably already know the answer. First one, if this MBA was completely free of cost, no fee, no 2 years lost, no loan, would you still do it? If your answer is no, you're not chasing the MBA. You're just escaping from a decision that you don't want to take. So name that real thing and then decide. 2, what are you even buying? Is it the knowledge, the reset, the signal, the network? And if your answer is, oh, I want to feel ahead, or I want to be prepared for future, it's just a script talking. It's the same script which put those graduates and postgraduates lining up for the peon's job. If your answer was yes, knowledge, reset, network, signal, check if you can get it cheaper. 3, can you get that thing without quitting and without a loan? Let's check. Knowledge. You can probably get that knowledge by working elsewhere at a fraction of its cost without leaving your job. If you're doing it for the signal, as I said, it is only valuable if you're getting from those handful of schools. So very rare. If it's network, only available from the elite campuses, from the top MBAs. Everywhere else doesn't value much. And if you're doing it for the reset, you should be able to say that in one line, from IT to finance, from engineering to strategy. And if you can't do that, it's not a drag switch. It's just a wish that you're making. And if your answer is still that you will need it for a senior role in future, you don't need it now. Number 4, run the real number, the fees, 2 years of salary, the interest you got to pay on the loan, because that's what you got to earn back. Take that number and compare it against the real salary, not the brochure salary, not what the CTC says, the real take-home salary. And check those numbers. Does the math clear in a reasonable time? Most cases below the top tier, it doesn't. Number 5, the judgment test. Because the thing that compounds a career is judgment skills. And this is achieved through consequences, through repetitions, through years. And check if the path that you're choosing is giving you more of that or less of it. 2 years of consequence-free case studies or 2 years of real work with real outcomes with your name on the outcome. Which one is building the real thing that matters to you and the market? And if your answers line up the other way, you can get into a top school, you can switch, you can name your switch in one sentence, the math is clear, and that network or the reset is something which you genuinely cannot get anywhere else, go ahead, do that MBA and don't look back. MBA is not dead. The thoughtless MBA is. FMS Delhi, 2.5 lakhs in fees and 32 lakhs average income pays for the fees by itself. And that is a different universe when compared to a 20 lakh private degree purchased to avoid a decision. The only thing common is those 3 letters, nothing else. Remember those 25 lakh people queuing up for the peon's job, the gardener's job? This person signing up for that MBA with 20 lakhs in fees is basically doing the same thing, buying a piece of paper to feel safe for a market that has stopped valuing it. The only difference is the price that you pay. So the real question was never, should I do an MBA? It was, what am I buying and is this the most expensive way to buy it? Answer that question honestly for yourself and you'll know it. And once you do that, put that in comments. I'd love to know that. And if you're already somebody who's done an MBA, I'd love to hear what you think about doing that MBA in 2026. Subscribe for more such career decodes and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.